Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He was Noah ibn Lamik ibn Metushilch ibn Enoch ibn Yard ibn Mahlabil ibn Qinan ibn Anush ibn Seth ibn Adam, the father of mankind. According to the history of the people of the book, the period between the birth of Noah and the death of Adam was 146 years. Abdullah ibn Abbas narrated that Prophet Muhammad said the period between Adam and Noah was 10 centuries. For many generations, Noah's peoples had been worshipping statues that they called gods. They believed that these gods would bring them good, protect them from evil, and provide all their needs. They gave their idols names such as Wad, Swa, Yaghuth, Ya'uq, Nasr, according to the power they thought these gods possessed. Allah the Almighty revealed, and they, idolaters, have said, "You shall not leave your gods, nor shall you leave Wad, nor Swa, nor Yaghuth, nor Ya'uq, nor Nasr." Originally, these were the names of good people who had lived among them. After their death, statues of them were erected to keep their memories alive. After some time, however, people began to worship these statues. Later generations did not even know why they had been erected. They only knew their parents had prayed to them. That is how idol worshipping developed. Since they had no understanding of Allah the Almighty, who would punish them for the evil deeds, they became cruel and immoral. Into this environment, Allah sent Noah with his message to his people. Noah was the only intellectual not caught in the whirlpool of man's destruction, which was caused by polytheism. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala explained, following upon the death of those righteous men, Satan inspired their people to erect statues in the places where they used to sit. They did this, but these statues were not worshipped until the coming generations deviated from the right way of life. Then they worshipped them as their idols. These idols represented respectively mainly power, mutability, beauty, brute strength, swiftness, sharp sight, insight. In his version, Ibn Jarir narrated, there were righteous people who lived in the period between Adam and Noah, and who had followers who held them as models. After their death, their friends who used to emulate them said, "If we make statues of them, it will be more pleasing to us in our worship and will remind us of them." So they built statues of them, and after they had died and others came after them, Iblis crept into their minds, saying, "Your forefathers used to worship them, and through that worship they got rain, so they worshipped them." Ibn Abi Hatim related this story. What then was a righteous man who was loved by his people. When he died, they withdrew to his grave in the land of Babylonia and were overwhelmed by sadness. When Iblis saw their sorrow caused by his death, he disguised himself in the form of a man, saying, I have seen your sorrow because of this man's death. Can I make a statue like him which could be put in your meeting place to make you remember him? They said, yes. So he made the statue like him. They put it in their meeting place in order to be reminded of him. When Iblis saw their interest in remembering him, he said, can I build a statue of him in the home of each one of you so that he would be in everyone's house and you could remember him? They agreed. Their children learned about and saw what they were doing. They also learned about their remembrance of him until they took him to be a deity and worshipped him instead of Allah Almighty. So the first to be worshipped instead of Allah was what then? The idol which they named thus. It was narrated that Salama and Habiba radiyallahu ta'ala anhunna told Allah's Prophet Muhammad about the church called Maria, which they had seen in the land of Abyssinia. They described its beauty and the pictures therein. He said, those are the people who build places of worship on the grave of every dead man who was righteous and then make therein those pictures. Those are the worst of creation unto Allah. The essence of this point is that every idol from those earlier mentioned was worshipped by a certain group of people. It was mentioned that people made pictures, and as the ages passed, they made these pictures into statues so that their forms could be fully recognized. Afterwards, they were worshipped instead of Allah. Worshipping anything other than Allah is a tragedy that results not only in the loss of freedom. By worshipping anything other than Allah, man becomes enslaved to Satan, who is himself a creature, and becomes harnessed to his own baser qualities. Its serious effect reaches man's mind and destroys it as well. Almighty Allah created man and his mind with its purpose set on achieving knowledge, the most important of which is that Allah alone is the creator and all the rest are worshippers. Therefore, disbelief in Allah or polytheism results in the loss of freedom, the destruction of mind, and the absence of a noble target in life. Allah in His mercy sent His messenger Noah to guide His people. Noah alayhi salam was an excellent speaker and a very patient man. He pointed out to his people the mysteries of life and the wonders of the universe. He pointed out how the night is regularly followed by the day, and that the balance between these opposites was designed by Allah the Almighty for our good. The night gives coolness and rest while the day gives warmth and awakens activity. The sun encourages growth, keeping all plants and animals alive, while the moon and stars assist in the reckoning of time, direction, and seasons. He pointed out that the ownership of the heavens and the earth belongs only to the divine creator. Therefore he explained to his people there cannot have been more than one deity. He clarified to them how the devil had deceived them for so long and that the time had come for this deceit to stop. Noah alayhi salam spoke to them Allah's glorification of man, how he had created him and provided him with sustenance and the blessings of a mind. He told them that idol worshipping was a suffocating injustice to the mind. He warned them not to worship anyone but Allah and described the terrible punishment Allah would mete out if they continued in their evil ways.